The story of Vienna 1683 begins long before the first Ottoman horsemen appeared on the horizon. It begins in a Europe exhausted by wars, divided by rivalries, and unsure of its future. The continent had suffered religious conflicts, dynastic struggles, and shifting alliances that made unity almost impossible. Yet destiny was pulling nations toward a moment that would define the fate of Europe itself. In the late 17th century, the Ottoman Empire stood as one of the most powerful forces on earth. It stretched across the Middle East, North Africa, and deep into the Balkans. Its armies had taken Constantinople, crushed kingdoms, and torn apart empires. Many believed that nothing could stop its advance. Vienna, the capital of the Holy Roman Empire, stood as the next great prize. The Ottomans had tried to seize Vienna before, in 1529, but terrible weather, disease, and fierce resistance stopped them. However, the memory of that failure lingered. For the Ottomans, Vienna symbolized unfinished business. Conquering it meant breaking Europe's defensive line and opening the door to the continent's rich cities beyond the Alps. By 1683, the empire was led by Sultan Mehmed IV, a ruler who left military matters largely in the hands of his Grand Vizier, Kara Mustafa Pasha. Kara Mustafa was intelligent, ambitious, and determined to succeed where others had failed. He believed taking Vienna would elevate him to legendary status. He saw himself not only as a commander, but as a visionary who could reshape the world. Kara Mustafa assembled an enormous force. Chroniclers speak of nearly 300,000 soldiers from across the Ottoman realms. While the exact number remains debated, what is certain is that the army was one of the largest Europe had ever seen. It included elite janissaries, cavalry, artillery, and tens of thousands of auxiliary troops. Eager for conquest, Europe, on the other hand, was fractured. The Holy Roman Empire struggled with internal disputes. Poland wrestled with political divisions. Smaller states feared Ottoman attack, but lacked the power to resist alone. As the Ottoman threat grew, urgent calls for unity echoed across courts and churches, but cooperation remained uncertain. Vienna itself was not fully prepared. Its defenses were strong, but its garrison was small, only around 15,000 soldiers, supported by a few thousand civilian volunteers. Count Ernst Rüdiger von Starhemberg, the city's military commander, understood that Vienna could not survive a prolonged siege. He needed help from the outside, but nobody knew if help would come in time. In July 1683, the Ottoman army encircled Vienna. Their vast camps spread across the plains, decorated with banners, tents, and artillery positions. The siege began with overwhelming confidence. Kara Mustafa expected Vienna to fall within weeks. He believed the defenders would surrender once food and hope ran out. The Ottomans began by digging trenches closer and closer to the city walls. Their engineers used sappers to tunnel beneath the fortifications, planting explosives to create breaches. Every explosion sent fear through the defenders, yet each time they rebuilt the destroyed sections, refusing to give in. The siege was turning into a brutal, daily contest of endurance. Inside the city, conditions deteriorated rapidly. Food supplies dwindled. Disease spread. Civilians huddled in churches and cellars as cannon fire rained down. Starhemberg walked through the streets, encouraging his people, promising them that relief would come. His unwavering courage kept morale alive when it could have easily collapsed. While Vienna fought alone, Europe struggled with its own politics. Imperial forces under Charles Villeroy tried repeatedly to harass the Ottoman lines, but they lacked the strength to break through. Messages were sent to Poland, begging King Jan III Sobieski to honor his alliance with Austria. Many wondered if he would answer the call. Sobieski was a seasoned warrior and a brilliant strategist. He had defeated Ottoman armies before and understood the consequences of Vienna's fall. He also knew that Poland, too, would be endangered if the Ottomans established dominance over Central Europe. Though some Polish nobles opposed intervention, Sobieski made his decision clear. He would march. Across the Carpathian Mountains, Sobieski gathered his forces. His army was significantly smaller than the Ottoman host, yet it was highly disciplined and fiercely loyal. Among them were the famed Winged Hussars, Europe's most feared cavalry. Their charge had turned many battles, and their presence alone inspired confidence. As Sobieski marched south, thousands of German, Austrian, and other Christian soldiers joined him. What had seemed impossible months earlier was now taking shape: a united European coalition. Their combined strength created hope in a time of darkness. The goal was simple but daunting: save Vienna from annihilation. Meanwhile, the situation in Vienna reached the breaking point. Starhemberg sent desperate messages to the relief army, warning that the city could not hold much longer. The Ottomans had breached parts of the outer defenses. Every day brought new assaults. Janissaries stormed the walls in relentless waves, but each attack was repelled with savage determination. Kara Mustafa grew frustrated. He had expected Vienna to surrender quickly, preserving its wealth and population. He wished to present the city intact to the Sultan as proof of his brilliance. But the defenders refused to yield. His hesitation to launch a full-scale assault gave the coalition precious time to assemble. As the relief army approached the edge of the Vienna woods, the Ottomans became aware of the threat. Kara Mustafa underestimated the speed and coordination of the Christian forces. He believed he could crush Vienna before the coalition reached him. This miscalculation would define the fate of the battle. Through dense forests and mountainous terrain, Sobieski's army maneuvered into position overlooking the plains where the Ottoman camp sprawled. The sight was overwhelming. The Ottoman force appeared endless, but Sobieski understood something Kara Mustafa did not. The terrain could be used as a weapon. Before launching the decisive attack, Sobieski climbed a hill and surveyed the battlefield. He saw that the Ottomans were still focused on breaching Vienna's walls. Their troops were stretched thin across siege lines, trenches, and camps. If he struck fast and hard, he could catch them unprepared. At dawn on September 12, 1683, the Battle of Vienna began. The coalition infantry moved forward first, clashing with Ottoman positions in the woods and outer trenches. The fighting was intense. The Ottomans resisted fiercely, but the united armies pushed them back step by step, disrupting their siege operations. In Vienna, the defenders heard the distant sounds of battle. Bells rang across the city. Civilians rushed to the walls, cheering the sight of Allied banners emerging from the hills. Starhemberg ordered a coordinated counterattack from within the city to coincide with the outside assault. Back on the battlefield, the fighting reached a critical point. The Ottomans tried to regroup, sending elite Janissaries to stabilize the lines, but the coalition forces pressed relentlessly. Kara Mustafa realized the danger too late. His siege camp was vulnerable to collapse if the Christian cavalry joined the fight. Sobieski watched for the perfect moment. He knew the Hussars could not charge through forests or broken ground. They needed space, momentum, and timing. Hours passed as the infantry struggled fiercely, breaking Ottoman formations and opening clear paths for the final blow. By late afternoon, the moment had come. Sobieski gave the signal. From the heights of the Kahlenberg, thousands of cavalrymen began to move. The ground shook beneath them. The Winged Hussars, with their wings glistening in the sun, formed into massive lines. Behind them rode German, Austrian, and Polish horsemen eager for victory. The cavalry descended like a storm. It was one of the largest cavalry charges in history. The Ottomans, shocked and unprepared, could not form proper defensive positions. Panic spread through their ranks. Their morale collapsed as the wave of horsemen crashed into their camp with unstoppable force. Ottoman lines broke instantly. Soldiers fled in all directions. Kara Mustafa tried desperately to rally his men, but the chaos was uncontrollable. The Christian infantry surged forward simultaneously, exploiting the confusion. Vienna's defenders burst from the gates, completing the encirclement. The Ottoman army dissolved into retreat. Tents burned, cannons were abandoned, and supplies were scattered across the battlefield. What had begun as a confident siege ended in catastrophe. Kara Mustafa himself escaped but knew the consequences he would face for such a defeat. As the sun set, Sobieski rode through the Ottoman camp, surveying the ruins of a shattered army. He declared that God had granted victory, and he praised the bravery of all nations that stood together to defend Europe. His message to the Pope echoed through history. We came, we saw, and God conquered. Vienna rejoiced. Civilians flooded the streets, embracing soldiers and praying in thanksgiving. Starhemberg embraced Sobieski, acknowledging that without the Polish king's leadership, the city would have fallen. The relief of Vienna became a symbol of unity, courage, and resilience. For the Ottoman Empire, the defeat at Vienna marked a turning point. No longer would its armies surge deep into Europe with unstoppable momentum. Historians widely consider 1683 the moment when Ottoman expansion began its long decline, while European states grew stronger and more confident. The victory also reshaped alliances. It demonstrated the power of collective defense over division. European leaders recognized that standing together was essential for survival. Although rivalries continued, the idea of cooperation against common threats gained new importance. The Battle of Vienna also became legendary in military history. The Winged Hussars charge remains one of the most iconic cavalry actions ever recorded. Their discipline, courage, and speed embodied the spirit of the armies that saved the city. Their legacy endures in countless stories, paintings, and monuments. Sobieski's reputation soared. He became celebrated across Europe as a defender of the Christian world. Yet he himself remained humble, attributing the victory to faith, unity, and sacrifice. His leadership set an example for future generations of commanders. Vienna rebuilt quickly. New fortifications, monuments, and churches were constructed to commemorate the battle. Survivors told stories of the siege for decades, ensuring that the memory of their suffering and triumph would never fade. The city emerged stronger and more resilient than before. The aftermath of the battle brought significant changes to the balance of power. Austria and Poland gained prestige. The Ottoman Empire faced internal reforms and political turmoil. The conflict shifted the direction of European history for centuries to come. But beyond politics and strategy, the true significance of Vienna 1683 lies in its human story. It is a story of ordinary citizens defending their homes, soldiers marching across mountains to save strangers, and leaders putting aside differences for a common cause. It is a story about unity in the face of overwhelming odds. The defenders of Vienna fought not only for themselves, but for the hope of future generations. The coalition armies came together because they understood that division meant destruction. Their determination forged a moment that would be remembered as one of Europe's greatest turning points. Today, the Battle of Vienna remains a symbol of resistance against seemingly unstoppable power. It shows that even the mightiest armies can fail when confronted by courage, strategy, and unity. It reminds us that the choices of leaders and the bravery of ordinary people can alter the course of history. The story continues to inspire historians, filmmakers, and scholars who study the era. Its lessons echo across time, urging societies to value cooperation over conflict and resilience over despair. Each retelling reinforces its place among the defining chapters of the early modern world. Vienna 1683 is not just a military victory. It is a narrative of endurance. The city survived starvation, bombardment, and terror because its people believed in something greater than themselves. Their faith in survival kept them strong, even when hope seemed lost. The coalition army demonstrated what can be achieved when nations rise above their divisions. Their unity transformed what could have been a devastating loss into an extraordinary triumph. Their bravery shaped a future where Europe could build toward stability and growth. The Ottoman soldiers who fought at Vienna too showed discipline and commitment. Many fought courageously in a campaign shaped by political ambitions beyond their control. Their struggle is part of the shared human experience of war. In the centuries following the battle, historians analyzed every detail, the strategies, the failures, the decisions that led to victory or defeat. Yet they all agree on one point. Vienna 1683 was a turning point. It preserved the cultural and political landscape of Europe as it developed in the modern era. The triumph at Vienna allowed European states to strengthen their institutions, invest in science and culture, and pursue new economic possibilities. Without this victory, the direction of European development could have been radically different. The battle also deepened cultural exchange between Europe and the Ottoman Empire. While conflict defined their borders, trade, diplomacy, and ideas continued to flow. The battle did not end relations, but transformed them into a more balanced interaction of civilizations. Vienna's story reminds the world that history is shaped not by inevitability, but by human choices. The decision of Sobieski to march, the determination of Starhemberg to hold, and the will of Vienna's people to endure all shaped the outcome. These choices combined to create a legacy of resilience. In remembering Vienna 1683, We honor not only kings and generals, but also the unknown men and women who carried water, repaired walls, tended the wounded, and prayed for deliverance. Their efforts were as essential as the cavalry charge that turned the tide. The story stands today as a testament to the power of unity. When people come together with shared purpose, even the strongest adversaries can be overcome. This truth remains relevant in every era, far beyond the battlefield. As centuries pass, Vienna continues to thrive. Its architecture, culture, and history display the enduring spirit forged during the siege. Visitors walked the same streets, once filled with cannon smoke and desperation, reminded of the city's remarkable past. TA events of 1683 continue to spark discussions among scholars and enthusiasts. They examine the political motives, military maneuvers, and cultural dynamics that shaped the campaign. Each perspective adds new depth to our understanding of the battle as a significancy. The legacy of the battle also influenced the identity of the Holy Roman Empire and the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. Their cooperation stood as a model for later alliances, proving that stability arises from cooperation rather than isolation. Vienna's survival ensured that their traditions, languages, and institutions of Central Europe could develop freely. The battle protected not only a city but a cultural crossroads that influenced the entire continent. Sobieski's leadership remains an example of decisive action in the face of uncertainty. His willingness to put duty above politics ensured the salvation of Vienna and changed the course of world history. In the end, the Battle of Vienna stands as more than a clash of empires. It is a narrative about human determination and the ability to face overwhelming odds with courage. It shows how unity, strategy, and sacrifice can shape the destiny of nations. As the memory of the battle continues through documentaries, books, and storytelling, each retelling preserves the lessons learned. The story encourages future generations to value strength of character and cooperation in the face of adversity. Vienna's victory became a symbol of hope across Europe. It reassured nations that no threat, no matter how vast, is insurmountable when people stand together. This remains one of the battle's most enduring messages. Even today, the fields around Vienna echo with the legacy of those who fought. The hills, forests, and valleys, once filled with armies, now serve as reminders of the past's sacrifices. Their stories live on through the people who continue to cherish their history. Vienna 1683 remains one of the greatest turning points in European history. It safeguarded the continent's future, preserved its cultural heritage, and reshaped the balance of power. The battle continues to inspire those who study the resilience of humanity. Through hardship, unity, and courage, Europe overcame one of its greatest dangers. The story of Vienna endures because it speaks to universal truths about strength, sacrifice, and hope. It is a reminder that history is written by those who refuse to surrender. And so, the tale of Vienna 1683 lives on, not merely as a military chronicle, but as a powerful story of people who stood united against overwhelming odds. Their triumph remains one of history's most extraordinary victories, a testament to the true power of Europe when it stands together.